In October of 2023, 18 people died in a mass shooting in Lewiston, Maine. More people were injured in ways that will affect the rest of their lives. I'd like to record this video as a professor of sociology at the nearby University of Maine at Augusta to talk about not individual responses, but social responses and how we can understand those social responses, which have interesting characteristics that are a little bit strange if we think about them literally, which tells us not to think about them literally, I think. 18 dead. These are 18 people who have families, who have friends. A ripple effect can extend outward. There's a number, it's called Dunbar's number. It says 290 acquaintances on average for every person. So you multiply that out, and we have a few thousand people who will be directly affected. And yet, the entire state of Maine, which is roughly 1.4 million people, has had the sense of being affected quite strongly over the last week or two, as I record this in early November 2023. Now, when mass shootings occur as a cause of death, Maine is not alone in experiencing what local communities experience: great social concern. Let's take that 18 and put that in context in a literal fashion, and then let's move beyond the literal. 18 dead as a number is not quite unusual, right? And in the United States, more broadly, the Violence Project has been tracking the total number of deaths from mass shootings from 1966 onward. That's 57 years, and it arrives at a sum of 1,391 deaths. Now, 1,391 deaths is a terrible toll for those individuals and those who knew them. However, looking at those numbers alone, that averages out to just 24.4 mass shooting deaths per year. Let's compare that to numbers of the leading causes of death in the United States. The most recent year that's available from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention are from 2022, because 2023 is not yet finished. But that counts 699,659 deaths in 1 year alone in the United States from heart disease, 607,790 deaths from cancer, 218,064 deaths from unintentional injuries. Statistics for the state of Maine in 2020, which is the last year for which Maine causes of death are available, indicates a similar pattern, although on a much smaller scale, because Maine is a smaller population state. And here they are. You see cancer, heart disease, and unintentional injuries. Again, the top three. And they are eclipsing those 18 in literal numbers. So what do we make of this? Because we do not have regular special reports. We do not regularly close schools for deaths by cancer, heart disease, or unintentional injuries that occur outside of school, as the mass shootings did. Literally, if we're focused on numbers alone, it doesn't seem to make sense. What I suggest then is that we should not be focusing on numbers alone. By pointing this out, I don't mean to indicate that the mass shooting deaths in Maine are somehow insignificant. I mean the contrary. The fact that the mass shooting deaths lead to a greater voicing of concern in groups, in media, in communities, indicates that there is some significance that goes beyond numbers alone. It's not about volume of death. What is the significance? I'd like to suggest that the significance here stems from sociological ideas of culture. In sociology, culture refers to values, beliefs, expectations, symbols that we have that represent ideas for any set of we, a family, a group, a community, a state, that about who we are, what we are not, what we expect to happen. These pictures that you see here, one is from Cobscook Bay, far off to the north and east, down east in Maine. And then at the other end of the state, down at the bottom, is a sign that everyone sees when they drive into the state. It says, Maine, welcome home, the way life should be. The way life should be. Peaceful, quiet, a haven from the rest of the world and how it is. If that is the way that the world is in Maine, the message is that Maine is different. And ask anyone in Maine, is Maine different? And they'll tell you how different Maine is. They'll say, it's not like everywhere else. They'll say, it's not dangerous. They'll say, we don't have crime. We're not so violent. It's a story that Mainers tell about themselves. And it's a really important story that is told, not just for reasons of tradition, but for reasons of commerce, tourism, trade. Maine has been a place that serves as an image of how life is different here from elsewhere. So when a shooting like this happens, it directly hits at this sense that people have in Maine and outside of Maine about what Maine is: a safe place, a haven, a place that feels like home, or a place that is home. And in being home and homely, home-like, is that it is safe. It is a place to escape from everything else. When that is taken away, that is a direct assault on the story that Maine tells about itself, about its ideas of being exceptional somehow, perhaps exempt from everything that the rest of the country and the rest of the world has been experiencing about the human tendencies toward violence. And if this place that says, oh, this is the way life should be, we are peaceful, we are quiet, can be so violent, it takes away a sense of expectations for that. If you no longer have an expectation that you are safe, if you no longer can hold onto the belief that Maine is a haven, that can be quite shaking, can be quite disturbing, and may cause, in future months and years, some reflection, reassessment, and maybe even a little bit of changing of that story about what Maine is.